Hello and welcome back to another review with me, Kevin, from Kevin Getting on Whisky. This week I've gone with Loch Lomond for two reasons. The first reason is I do love golf. Golf's one of my passions alongside whisky, and I won one of my friends playing a tournament every single year just amongst ourselves. It's the first time I've ever won it for its 9 years it's been going, so I won that at the weekend and I thought, Loch Lomond has a huge influence on golf with the Open that they run every year, and they do like Lewis and things like that, and have all these golfers alongside their whiskies. So it's a bottle that I am looking for, which I will get. I know it's sold out on the website, but I think I'm going to pick one up pretty soon just to try as well. It's got red wine break finish. But we look at this one here. This is Loch Lomond 12, the newer bottling. I can't find a date on it, unfortunately, from when it was bottled, but we know it's 12 years old. 46% and non-chill filtered. I'm sure it's non-chill filtered. It doesn't say there. Yeah, there is. Non-chill filtered on the back. I'm pretty sure all their stuff is. This has been aged in American oak. 3 different styles of cask. So I think it's been American bourbon, refill, and rechar. So there are 3 different styles to it. And this 12-year-old, just a bog standard 12-year-old, perfectly balanced, it's called, is the standard style of what Loch Lomond is and what it perceives itself to be. This fruity, beautifully textured whiskey that it is. There was a tasting on Thursday night. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I was out golfing on the Friday early in the morning, so I couldn't make it to the tasting because I wouldn't be able to drive that wee fruit flies back. So I've chosen this for that. One at the weekend, why not have a dram of this, try and enjoy it. Do a little bit of research on Loch Lomond as well. And for how new it is, to the extent, founded in 1965 by Little Mill, started producing, I think it was 1966 to now, it's a young distillery in the sense of all these other distilleries were founded in late 1800s. Now we're in the 1965, 1966 realm. They have 11 stills, I think it is, different styles, 4 different styles. They've got their Swan Neck styles, traditional. They've got their continuous style, Lomond still, which produces up to 90% alcohol and gives that real different character. And then they've got their coffee style, and then they've got their other style. I had to write some of this stuff down. And there was something I'll read out, which I was able to find in one of the books, which I thought it's really kind of fascinating. Loch Lomond, say 10 years ago, so what we're in 2022. 2012, prior to 2012, was not a big, renowned whiskey. It was known for blending. It didn't have a good character to it. It was just bulk, put it in the blend, send it out. And that's what it was. They sold it very young, they put it out very young, and it was just in your face, a bit of alcohol and just not enough character to it. Bring in Michael Henry, and he reproduces this distillery. So within 10 years, Michael Henry's team has produced sales to the market of whiskey by 200% from Loch Lomond in 10 years. 200% in 10 years is a kind of unbelievable benchmark for what he's done. So we're starting to see whiskey at unbelievable character, enjoyment level as well, at good prices. And somebody that knows our whiskey, the passion and behind it. So the Fiona, who's one of the brand reps as well, done a taste of my heart, and she was unbelievable in knowledge. So distillery, I'm far behind. I do enjoy it. I don't enjoy these fruit flies, but I suspect they're going to come around good whiskey, and you can't really do much about it. But I'm going to kind of read something here that I was able to find in a whiskey book, which one of the things to give me, it was more of the years of when the stills and everything came in. So if I quickly just go over this for you. So Loch Lomond has an extremely unusual equipment setup. 1 pair of straight neck pot stills were installed in 1966. Yet another pair were installed in 1990. 4 years later, a grain distillery with 2 continuous stills was open. 1 pair was a swan neck pot still were installed in 1998, and in 2007 a single grain coffee still was added. Complemented by a 3rd pair of straight neck stills, the distillery has 11 stills and is distilled in a coffee still. So over 5 million litres of malt, 70% of the malt is distilled in coffee stills with Loch Lomond single grain. which is one of their biggest sellers, and I really enjoy. So that still itself is a continuous still. It is malted barley that they use, but because it's a continuous still, it cannot be called single malt whiskey, even though it's malted barley. It's quite strange. I don't know. I can't get my head around that. So it's insane. 1965, 66 comes through, and then the other thing that I found that I never knew was in 1997 a fire destroyed 300,000 litres of maturing whiskey. That's a huge amount to lose of aged distillery. That's about 30 years of whiskey sitting there, you know. So we have a look, and we'll go for some tasting notes on this, some smells. Natural colour, non-shelf filtered, tiny wee bit left. Nice dark bronzed amber hit, all bourbon cask, a bit of rechar in there, bit of refill. And this is a tradition, this is what Loch Lomond is. This is the heart of Loch Lomond. Fresh, vanilla, apples, pears, the light nice and fruity, white fruits, nice big hits of sugar. It's magic. Really like that in the nose. Yeah, so kind of your white fruits, sugars, toffee fudge, maybe more the fudgy side of it. A little bit of caramel. Let's try it on the palate. Stand everyone. I think I can get that kind of the char off that. I wouldn't say it's smoke or peat, anything along those lines. It's just, I feel that when you get a really nice char on a whiskey cask, that it does come through on the spirit itself. So you get that kind of deep caramelized. It's kind of like a, what do I say, more kind of like an apple pie. Sugars on top, pastries in there, nice fresh apples, kind of warming. It's maybe even put in the oven for a few minutes as well. It's got that hit to it. Really nice mouthfeel. I don't get any spice. I'll just have a look at the back there with, as a bourbon refill and the rechar, and I do think the char is what's bringing me that kind of apple pie taste to it. Definitely sugar on top. It's slightly been in the oven, pastry, nice apples. That could be the kind of white fruit we're going for. Very, very fresh. And it is different from, so Loch Lomond have so many styles that can come out, and this is just a non-peated, traditional 12-year-old whiskey. On the site I think it's £44. Value for money is definitely up there. I have another wee sip, man, a wee drop of water. I don't think it needs it, but we'll put a wee bit in anyway. Loch Lomond's a Highland, Western Highlands. Loch Lomond distilleries are kind of the neighbour that used to be, which is like hen's teeth to find. Something I've never tried. I don't think in my lifetime I probably ever will, because I think if I've ever seen a bar, the price of it would be through the roof. But to find this distillery, which was nothing 10 years ago, to bring itself to what it is, I kind of a cheers to Michael Henry and the team down there for what they do. There's a tiny wee bit of water in there. Try to see if anything's changed. Maybe got a tiny bit earthy there. A little bit earthy, still staying with those kind of white fruits, fudge, caramel toffee. We'll see what it does in the palate, because the palate says they've got apple pie and things like that. I wonder if it changes anything there with that earthy notes just started to come through. Still saying those apple pies, but maybe that slightly more earthy, tiny bit dunnagey, and I don't know if I'm just saying that because of what I just smelt on that whiskey. I really enjoy this. I think Loch Lomond's great. I just done a review the other week. I think it was the 10-year-old, the Chardonnay wine yeast, which was the Aquavite bottling, and I've got a bottle of the single grain, which again is malted barley, but in the continuous still, in the Lomond still. I think it's Lomond still, that one's in the continuous, one of the 11 stills that they have in there, and I enjoy them all. And with the single grain, there's a more syrupy note for me. This is a more rounded, cask involved. That rechar, I think, has really brought this whiskey out for what it is, and I think it would taste completely different without the rechar. I totally get that on the palate. Very enjoyable whiskey. This will get replenished. This was part of the sample from the other night I was able to get from my whiskey club that they gave me to finish off, so I'm pretty sure that'll be quite easy to do. I like the new branding, kind of squashed bottle slightly more. Not much has majorly changed. Still got all the facts and figures on there. The non-chill filtered natural colour. I like it. £45. I'm sold on it. I'd buy it again, and I think I'll pick one up because this is about to get finished. I'm going to go and sit back, enjoy my last few days of my annual leave. Back to work shortly, so the whiskey will take a wee back seat. But I'll be playing golf all week as well after my small victory just over the weekend there. But as always, I've been Kevin from Kevin Getting Whisky. Enjoy me next week. Let's talk whiskey. Slange.